consciousness on many levels at the same time. That is what Sridhar is saying. Okay? But still, relations of now relations also can be many. I can have a relation of my mind with other minds. I can have a relation of my enjoyment with others' enjoyment. I can enjoy my relation with others. Relations of power also is there. I have a power and somebody else has a power, and there can be a relation between them. Just as you would work in a government, there are different departments and each one has got a different power. All the ministers have got their own area of power, but they are all working together. So there are relations between them. Self-power of being would not be excluded. Okay. Now this is very interesting because about he is not saying that here, but he'll say elsewhere, relations of mutual delight of existence. For instance, the one who is at the supramental level, he can have three different types of ananda. One would be he would enjoy his own ananda. He sees himself, the divine is in himself, and he enjoys his own ananda. It's a personal ananda. Then the other would be that I have a relation with somebody else. Okay. Yes, I am continuing with that image of Archanadi and Jasmine. They would both enjoy their relation. She would enjoy her relation with Archanadi. Archanadi would enjoy her relation with Jasmine. This is the second type. The third type, Archanadi will enjoy the personal enjoyment of Jasmine. Okay, and Jasmine would enjoy the personal enjoyment, not the relation, but the enjoyment of it. So these are the three types of enjoyment he mentioned elsewhere that you would be able to access in the supramental world. Okay, so this is what he's saying in the paragraph. Now we can go to the last one.
Hello, I have a question.
Yes, tell me.
You know, in this para, if Sri Aurobindo is describing that all things are originated in the supramental, but there is something higher than the supramental, which is Sachidananda. But then I would argue and say, okay, what is there above Sachidananda? There can be something else also.
That's exactly what he's answering. That is exactly what he's saying. But one thing is there, when you start going up, okay, that's exactly what he's answering. He's saying that yes, it is possible that there are other things. But what I am noticing is that as I am going higher and higher, oneness is increasing, unity is increasing. Okay, so the argument of the person you are arguing now, then the answer would be that yes, there is a total oneness without many in the higher planes of consciousness. This is one way of answering. The other way of answering is that beyond the supermind, nobody has gone yet. Okay, so we don't know. But if there is a temporary answer can be given, okay, that supermind has the conviction of being the origin, and if there is something above that, okay, it would remain. Because we see also that when you go into the higher levels of consciousness, the lowers are integrated. They are not abolished. That's what I was mentioning to you just now about the Ishvara Koti and the Jiva Koti. The Jiva Koti is one who remains on one plane of consciousness, but in his consciousness, the other planes are not there. Okay? But in this supermind, you are necessarily a Ishvara Koti. In other words, you have the understanding and the consciousness of all the other planes also. If that is not there, you can't go to the supermind. So that's what he's saying. And so if that is the nature, then even if it is above, it will be, the supermind will still retain. It will be retained in the other levels of consciousness. Just as it is in the spiritual planes of consciousness also. That's the argument. But if you continue to argue and say that, oh, this is conjecture, Sri Aurobindo would probably say, wait, let us have the experience of the higher plane, then we'll be able to say very clearly. Okay. This is an answer which is, you could say, conditional answer. You could say that. Okay. Because as I told you, Nobody has gone to the higher levels above the supermind. Because if you go there, you can't come back to say what you've experienced. You will disappear. The individual soul will become the universal soul. Completely it will disappear. It will go back to from where it came. Okay. So, that's exactly what the objection that Jasmine raised. That is exactly what he's answering. Okay. So maybe we can now read the last one.
Shall I read?
Yeah. Yes, do that.
It might be said again that even so in Satchidananda itself, at least above all worlds of manifestation, there could be nothing but the self-awareness of pure existence and consciousness and a pure delight of existence. Or indeed, this triune being itself might well be only trinity of original spiritual self-determinations of the infinite. These two, like all determinations, would cease to exist in the ineffable absolute. But our position is that this must be inherent truth of the Supreme Being. Their utmost reality must be pre-existent in the absolute, even if they are ineffably other than what they are in the spiritual mind's highest possible experience. The absolute is not a mystery of infinite blackness, nor a supreme sum of negations. Nothing can manifest that is not justified by some self-power of the original and omnipresent reality.
Yeah. So a further objection, just like Yasmin just now raised the question, how do we know there may be something else? That's exactly what Sridhar is saying when he's saying it might be said again. That means another objection can be there. Okay, even after I've explained, there can be another objection. And what is that? Even so, in Satchidananda, okay, I'll read out the summary first of what he's saying in this small para, and then we'll go back to the beginning of the para. This is the 24th para in this chapter. Okay, so he's saying, again it might be said, it might be objected, that in the Satchidananda, at least, the only consciousness possible would be of existence, consciousness and bliss, and nothing else. These would be the triple determinates of the Absolute, which in itself we have started with. The final reality cannot be a blank vacancy without meaning, and nothing of meaninglessness. So, we see that there are determinations in the lower. We see that there is indeterminability at the top. How can we be sure that there is not only oneness at the highest level? Could there not be only oneness at the highest level? This is the question that is being asked. And Sri Aurobindo is replying that my theory is that the highest is a combination of both unity and multiplicity. Indeterminability, nirguna, as well as determinability, saguna. This is my answer. So as I told you, it's a temporary answer, it's a conditional answer. You may have your own theory, but my theory is that they are there. Because if it was only one, it would be a total blank, and the divine can't be a total blank. So it's like a seed in which you experience the oneness, and yet if you go deep into the seed and you go down to the DNA level, you will see that there is a possibility of all multiplicity. That's what he's answering. Okay, so determinate. Just 1 second. I'll make a correction. Determinates. Yeah. So this is what is answering. Okay. So Yasmin's objection, that's exactly what he's dealing with. You are welcome to have your own theory, but my theory is this. This is what I am saying. Okay. That's what he's saying. So that finishes this chapter of the indeterminates and cosmic determinations. And this is a long chapter, it's about 40 pages, okay? And then we have the next chapter also, which is very big, Brahman Purusha Ishvara Maya Prakriti Shakti. So this is also one of the very important chapters because it's a huge chapter also, and he explains the difference between all these. Brahman, Purusha, Ishvara, Maya, Prakriti, Shakti. But before we go to that chapter, let's briefly discuss this chapter, indeterminables and cosmic determinations. What is he saying ultimately in 40 pages? Okay. Essentially, what he's saying is that if you keep the mind in mind, the seed and the tree, that's a very, very good example of what he's talking about. When I look at the seed, I see only oneness. If I cut up that seed and try to see something else in it, I will not see anything. I will only see the seed. However much I cut it up, there is only oneness in it. There is nothing else. That's the highest level, supermind. But when I look at the physical world here, I see that there is a many. So this is now we can also define the word determinate, indeterminate, and indeterminable. Let's define these three words. A determinate is something which has got form, character, shape, qualities. Okay. Size, color, shape, weight, all these things is there. This is what is a determinate. I can describe something by telling that it weighs so much, it looks like this, it has got this form, it is cylindrical, it is horizontal, it is this, it is that. This is what a determinate is. But here also there is a problem in the Jain philosophy. I'll just come to that a little later. Okay. Then we come to this is a determinate. Okay. For instance, my pen is a very clear determinate. I can describe it exactly. Okay. I can describe my watch. I can say it is this, it is this, it is this. Then what is an indeterminate? An indeterminate is one step above that, which is in comparison to the determinate, it is less determined. It's got less characteristics. Okay. Just like I told you, molten metal. Okay. Take molten metal, okay, iron ore, and you have a liquid hot molten metal. That's the indeterminate from which the determinates can come out. I can make ingots, I can make plates, I can make wires out of it. The wires and the plates and the ingots are the determinates, and the molten metal is the indeterminate. But is that the final? No, because I can think of it's a metal. So there are other metals also. So it's a relative indeterminate. Okay. So as you keep going higher and higher, the determinations go on becoming less and less, and the indeterminability of things, the formlessness goes on increasing until finally you come to the highest level, total indeterminableness. Okay. But is it that you can never know it? That would be the indeterminable. You can never know it. It's not true. You can know it by consciousness. You can't know it by the mind, but you can know it by the consciousness. So the indeterminable is a possibility at our level. But as you keep climbing higher and higher in consciousness, the indeterminateness decreases, and finally you know it at a higher level. But not mental knowledge, because it becomes knowledge by identity. You become yourself that. So this is the chapter. Okay. Cosmic determinations and indeterminable. To give you only one example of this determination, how as it keeps coming down, it becomes more and more and more and more. Actually, I thought of making a chart. I'll still do it, but I've not done it yet. Okay. Take the indeterminate life. Okay. What is life? Prana. Can I describe it? Very difficult. I can say force, I can say Shakti, but can I describe Shakti? Very difficult. So it's an indeterminable. But when it becomes prana and comes down and creates lives, creates determinations, I can say that it is creating animal life and it is creating vegetable life. Okay. So already it has become two. Okay. So, or I can say life is creating the vertebrates and invertebrates. basically. So they are the determined. The vertebrates and the invertebrates are the determinations of life. Life itself is the indeterminate. Okay? Then take the vertebrates. There are 5 types of vertebrates, at least when I read in biology, that now they may have added a few more. Okay, so all the creatures which have got vertebrates are of 5 types: mammals, birds, reptiles, then amphibians, and one more. What is that other one? Mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians. One more is there. What is that? I'm forgetting now. Okay. So again, if you take mammals, they're again split up into so many different types of mammals. Okay. There can be the cat family, there can be the dog family, there can be so many other things. Okay. In this classification that I've just given you, they have not included the marsupials, which are an extraordinary phenomena. Okay. They, the baby in mammals, the baby is in the womb, but in marsupials, the womb is an open sac. Kangaroos and many other types, they're all found only in Australia. Okay, so that is the interesting thing. So different types of mammals come in. The canine family, the feline family, cat family, dog family. Okay, and they, even in the dog family, you will see dogs, you will see foxes, you will see wolves. There are so many different types. Okay, and if you, so it goes on. So this is what he is describing in this chapter, that the highest level, total oneness and no features. But as you keep coming down, this featurelessness starts putting on characteristics and becomes features, features, features. And this process is endless. It goes on producing, producing, producing. Even now, life is producing different types of plants which didn't exist earlier, different types of animals. Some animals also disappear, but some animals go on coming. This is what basically is saying in this chapter. Okay? And we have given the gist of what he's saying in the chapter. Okay? So, what is the time now? It is 8:30. And if there are any questions, we will discuss it, because the Brahman Purusha Ishvara, we will discuss it next time. Okay? And I'll, before we start, I'll just give you a brief introduction to what he is saying in the paragraph, in the chapter, and then we will start reading. Okay? Brahman Purusha Ishvara Maya Prakriti Shakti. Okay?
Rangada, you were supposed to tell us something about Jainism.
Yes, that's an interesting thing. The Jains say that you can never describe something fully. It's very interesting what they say. Okay, just think about it. Now, take my pen. Okay, can I describe it fully? The Jains say never. Why? Because their argument go like this. Okay, it is weighing so much. One characteristic. It has got this color. Another characteristic. It is made of metal. Another characteristic. It may be made of plastic also, but it's made of metal. There is ink inside it. Okay, that's another characteristic. It's got a cap. Okay, another characteristic. So I can go on describing what it is, but even this is infinite. I will never be able to exhaust all that it is. But suppose I have been able to exhaust all that it is, now I have to say all that it is not. Okay, so this is the Jain philosophy. Syad va na syad va. Okay, so it is this, it is not this. It is this, it is not this. So, in other words, there is a mystery. Nothing can be absolutely known in the physical world, because you can never fully know it. You can only know it practically, but you can never know its reality, because it will impossible to describe what it is fully. And fully means positively what it is and negatively what it is not. That also you have to describe. So, if this is the truth of the physical world, what is the ultimate reality? The ultimate reality, you have to go there And then only you will be able to know what it is, but you're not able to describe it because there are no features. So the featurelessness is the only certainty. This is the Jain philosophy. I find it very interesting. It's true also. Everything that you describe, okay, you can never describe it fully. However accurately you describe, there'll always be something that you have missed out. Okay?
Because our knowledge is limited.
Pardon? Pardon?
Because our knowledge is limited. It's only at that
yes,
level
exactly.
about everything.
Exactly. That's right. Ignorance. We live in ignorance. That's why we can never know anything fully. That's right. Okay. I think it's time now. We have to stop today.
Merci
Bye.
beaucoup.
Okay. Au revoir, everybody.
Have a nice
Sumki, Shilpa, Yasmin, and Archana Di all